we're not in business to be all right, right? We're not trying to do things at all right status. We're trying to do things unbelievable, full throttle. Let's get it done. But wow, I mean, before we even done with the class in your master course, I was already seeing the difference in people relating to me and reaching out.
Welcome to Be Bold Branding, where we discuss the power of differentiating yourself through your own unique story and standout personal brand.
Is your brand almost there? In other words, do you have an awesome brand concept, but you're still just not sure how to pull it all together and make it profitable? Well, you're in luck, because today we're talking with a client who was in that very spot, and he's planning to spill the beans on us and his entire branding journey. So welcome, Mike.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. How are you doing?
Every day Saturday over here, Mike. Just like we were talking about, before we started the recording. So I hope it's that way with you too.
Michael says some Saturdays are grass cutting Saturdays.
That's true.
But they're all Saturdays.
Yeah, and some of them are church garage sale Saturdays, and then some of them are, what I want to do Saturdays.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds like a winner.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Let's jump right into this, my friend. As Tanya said, the first time we saw your brand identifier, the Redneck Financial Coach, we knew we had to talk to you. So tell us, where did that incredible idea originally come from?
Well, hey, just to recap, it came from a guy that helped me. He trained influencers on LinkedIn, and he trained me. He came out of nowhere 2 Christmases ago, so about a year and a half ago. And he just challenged me. He challenged me what I didn't know. All the things I wanted to do was to attract people, build relationships. I was convinced that people knew who I was, saw what I did, got to know me. Well, then the other half of that's easy, because I have the best value you can find on earth, right? So know, like, and trust plus value. What else is left, right? 2 halves. So the way that came about is that as I was learning LinkedIn, about a couple months into it, he called me up and he says, "Hey man, your profile stinks and you're wearing a suit. Why?" Right? I'm like, "Oh, that's what we do in our industry, right? Finance and things." And he's like, "Is it working for you?" I'm like, "Oh, hell no, it's not working at all." And he's like, so he told me, he's like, "What do you got to lose?" He said, "You should let your redneck out. You're a working class guy." He says, "That's who you work with. That's who you hang with." He said, "Why don't you do it?" And I said, "Well, it won't, I'll be a laughing stock." He said, "What do you got to lose?" It's nothing. I could deal with this hardcore logic, right? So that was it. I went to Shutterfly or Shutterstock or something. I went there and I found 2 guys in overalls and straw hats. And I put that up, and he took Canva and he wrote in pink, "Redneck Financial Coach." That has to go in the Redneck Museum here soon, because everybody wants to see that. And it wasn't like I didn't get a lot of business for a long time doing that. I built the hounds. I was able to meet a lot of people building the hounds community that way. But what it did is it stopped me from having terrible appointments and Zooms and, beat my head against the wall and coming out pitchy. People looked at me and said, "No, thank you," like immediately. And I didn't set any bad appointments. And then other people who were curious and kind of, intrigued by it started off. So that was not even my idea. I never have an original idea, but that's how the Redneck Financial Coach got started. And that led us to where we're at today.
Well, I really like it because it was awesome, but it was great advice from him. It's an advice that Tanya taught me when I first became a BrandFace, and we teach everybody else. It's part of our program, is that being authentic. And people, I think they put limitations on their authentic thought process. Well, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to steal. I'm being authentic. And actually what you proved in your life was you're not going to do any of those things, whether you wear a suit or whether you wear a hat, but you were not really being authentic to the people that you were trying to reach and your ideal customer, if you will. And so it was really fantastic advice. But let me ask you this now. So you started down that path and you started building the Hounds group and that sort of thing, building a fantastic following. What made you decide to become a BrandFace?
Oh gosh. So let me rewind a tiny bit. So I didn't decide anything. Tanya just sniffed me out, man, like a bloodhound. Right. So which is a great thing. Actually, I think I saw you too. Remember the whole comment? I know if you like this comment, but it's still, the original thought was, wow, look at these guys. Because I heard you all talking and I'm like, you're more country than me, right? You're from Georgia. Well, that's not a lot. And I was like, wow, and I just thought about it. I was like, I'm not the only one. We're like a bunch of outhouses wrapped in Gucci purses. I was blown away. I was like, dude, regular people just talking straight, likable, but very, very successful, right? So all this time we were trying to figure things out, and I was, I have a wonderful team. I got Sia, who doesn't need a last name because I mess it up. Yes, Torres, and Raquel Flores. And so we were pulling all these things together and they were helping me grow. She runs my show, Sia does with Brilliant Beam. And we were just rocking it. We were meeting people, the Hounds was growing, all these things were happening. But I didn't know, personally, I didn't know what I should be doing. Right? I'm not the best at process. I'm not the best at marketing, or I'm good at marketing, but I had no clue about branding or its importance. And thank goodness. I would personally say it was a God thing, man, because it just happened. I saw you all, she reached out, and the rest is history. And it's not that I'm dumb or ignorant. It's just I didn't understand what branding and marketing was, which one was the cart, which one was the horse, and I was putting them backwards. So it really helped from day one in April to have that conversation because it was eye-opening, right? It was, and she came at it from a very educational, hey, I noticed this standpoint, so I was never threatened by a sales pitch. She came at it the right way, like, hey, I see value here, and have you considered a few things to do it better? Which I had not. So she piqued my interest the whole time. So I'm not going to take credit. I was just blessed with, just like I'm blessed with all the people I was surrounded by, because they have brilliance I don't, right? And I'm very coachable, and that's my superpower.
Oh, goodness. That's how we feel about our team, too. Like,
No doubt.
everybody on it has their own superpower, their own sense of brilliance. And Raquel and Sia on your team are absolutely incredible.
Absolutely.
When we first saw the Redneck Financial Coach, it's like, oh, this is like a match made in heaven. This is awesome. I'm going to find out how he's doing with it, right? And like you said, it wasn't like a sales pitch thing, which you like to call pitch slapping, which I love. But it was just like, okay, how is that working for you? And it was working for you, but not to the level that you wanted it to work for you at that point. So it's really all about that for most people that come through our program. Is like, okay, they've got a good idea, a really good start here, but they're having trouble really connecting it. Okay, so how does what I'm known for help parlay into somebody saying, I have to work with you and you making money from working with that person? Because profitability is not a dirty word. We love that word around here. Mm-hmm. And everybody has to become profitable with their brand, or they just end up spinning their wheels and doing a whole lot of, we like to call busyness instead of business. And it's easy to fall into that trap. Super, super easy. You mentioned the word eye-opening a minute ago. What was the most eye-opening thing for you about your personal branding journey as you were going through that process?
No, it was interesting because around February to March, so about a month before I met you, again, my team, I mean, we're not branding people. I look at this as far as like a general practitioner or a doctor versus a specialist, right? Ankle surgeon, right? So that's kind of how we were. Like, there's no way I could do my show and run the things without Sia and Raquel and my team. Well, none of us are branding experts. None of us have a business that says, hey, we're going to improve brand. And quite honestly, there's so many people floating around out there calling themselves branding experts. So it's kind of gets lost in the shuffle. It's just kind of like, like life coach to me. It's like, that could be a lot of stuff and half of it might be made up, So what was impressive that got my attention was most people, 98% or you got to correct me here. People will see you 98% of the time. They're going to see your brand before they see and meet you. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know how to present myself. I didn't know how well or important it was. And quite frankly, I thought I could be too fancy that I would lose the nuance that made me me, right? The curiosity and then all that stuff, the likability. I thought I would be too polished. So I just didn't know what I was doing. I knew I needed a website. I knew I needed to improve on things. I knew I had unique challenges. I just didn't know how to navigate and put them together. And you guys, that's what you do for a living. You're specialists in this. And you put them out in a roadmap. And that was clarifying to me, like, oh, wow, this is why I do this. This is who I am. This is how to present this. And now people are seeing that and, coming out to me because they have an interest, right? Not,
oh, yeah.
It's a win-win. They like what they see. They have a need for it. And now they're coming to me, which, even in all my education, I never heard anything like this. And I've read a lot of good branding books. But wow, I mean, before we're even done with your class and your master course, I was already seeing the difference in people relating to me and reaching out. So you don't know what you don't know. That's all it was. It doesn't mean I'm stupid. It just means I'm ignorant. I'm ignorant of brain surgery, building engines, right? So it was just like, but I don't think most people understand how important what the cart before the horse, guys. It's like building an engine after you built the car and hoping you can stick it somewhere is how I felt. So that's why I was excited.
That's a journey that I took too. And Tanya walked me through all of that, years and years. I've been an entrepreneur for 31 years, and just the last 12 I've seen a massive amount of success because of what she taught me about that difference and how to point that spear right directly at the bullseye you're shooting for, which is an ideal customer. So Tell us about that. Like, what's an ideal customer for you, and how did that change when you went through BrandFace?
Well, see, I didn't know. And it was just little things that make big impact. People think that it's always got to be some revelation, it's some huge secret that, oh, wow, only Tanya has. And in fact, a lot of it was just a whole bunch of small little incremental, really, that's it? But they're huge impacts, right? So for example, attracting a certain market. Who is my target market? I couldn't define that if you had me at gunpoint, right? Like, I thought I knew. It was in here, but it was not clear. So if it wasn't clear to me, it wasn't clear to the people that I was hoping would find me by osmosis, right? So a little thing was, my heart and soul are folks like me, people who have been told they can't, poor, working class, middle class, trying to fight against those negative tapes that we can be somebody, that we can build a life of, define success on our own, those kind of things. That's who I targeted. But then it realized, I said, those kind of people are my people. They're going to find me anywhere. I don't have to go out there, and they're going to find me because I'm there, especially when my brand's on point. They sure find me. But I didn't realize I can target folks that were entrepreneurs, small business, that would have hired me, who are hiring me, but they didn't know what I did and who I was and where I was at. And when they saw my profile, they saw my LinkedIn page, it just wasn't clear. I mean, it was all right, but we're not in business to be all right, right? We're not trying to do things at all right status. We're trying to do things unbelievable, full throttle. Let's get it done, because it's not about just money. Money is the measurement or the litmus test of how well the business is going, right? So if I can bring more value, I should make more money. If I'm not making more money, that means that I'm not bringing enough value. And that's where I've finally tied it all together. So it was a bunch of little incremental things, like a logo. I could pull a logo, anybody can do a logo, but why? Why is this logo? What color? What is the why and the reason? What's it supposed to do for us? This was the stuff that was mind blowing, because I don't know branding, right? So little things added up to big things to me.
I love that analogy, and let me tell you why. So me and Tanya go to this little small town one time, just like kicking around. We didn't know anything about the town, and we find some lunch, and then we're kicking around and going in and out of stores. And we go into the store. This is years back. And we're going into the store. It's like an outfitter, so you can buy Columbia and all that kind of stuff, and so you can go camping and things like that. And we see this big sign that says axe throwing downstairs. And I looked at her and I went, "What? Axe throwing?" And so we go down, and I have all my life been a country boy, like bows, arrows, throwing knives since I was 7, hatchets, all that kind of stuff. That's right up my alley. Been doing it for all my life. So we're sitting there and we're throwing these things, and I'm doing pretty good, right? I got her beat, and so I'm all right, right? And I'm not embarrassing myself, and it's sticking every now and then. And she looks at me and she goes, "You need to throw off your left foot." And I said, "Don't tell me what I need to do. These are my feet. I've had them on my legs for 40-something years. I've been throwing these things." And no one, she said, "Just try it. What's it going to hurt?" I moved my left foot forward and hit 99 in a row. True story.
99.
True
I
story.
counted them. Oh yeah, it was insane. It was insane.
By that tiny, very significant, important incremental change. And she's just gifted at that. And she does that for thousands of clients because of that. So you're right. It is these tiny things a lot of times, especially like you, because you did have the brand and you had the team and y'all had the goods. You just needed those tiny little shifts. And then those shifts is what now is making that big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to talk just a moment, a little bit more, Mike, about profitability, okay? Because anybody can build a pretty brand, but to build a purposeful and profitable brand is something entirely different. So you've kind of got to say, where do you want to go in the end? What do you want to accomplish? And then reverse engineer it back. And so when we looked at you, it's like, okay, what are you doing? Okay, well, I'm doing financial advisement. And I'm also helping people build LinkedIn. Well, you told the story about, okay, well, I wanted to have more financial clients, but I realized some of the clients that I really wanted to work with weren't quite there yet. And they needed to attach to and to connect with more professionals that they could turn into clients on LinkedIn, the world's #1 professional networking platform. And you knew how to get them to that point, which then when they get to that point, you can offer them LinkedIn coaching. You can offer them financial advisement to help with all that money you've helped them make by connecting with the right people on LinkedIn. So it was this beautiful flow of everything. And I'm telling his story for him, right? But here's a beautiful flow of everything, Mike. But when you look at it that way and then kind of reverse engineer the brand to set it up to be that way, what kind of a difference has that made for you in your mind, first of all?
Well, it's a lot of clarity. I mean, I never thought it was possible, to be honest, because I got to be careful. I have to keep businesses separately. Regulations and things like this. And so, it can get overwhelming because I don't know, like, I just end up not talking about things, right? And then no one can do anything because it's in a cave with the lights off, right? So for me, I loved how this came about because I didn't know how to do it. You helped me do this, but I've always wanted to look at things like a buffet, right? So people can come, have none, have some, have all, come back later. I don't care. And that's really what I was all over. And I did with the Hounds of Business community, right? I wanted to make sure that people knew what I did. I don't care if people say yes or no. I still don't, really don't. What I care about is that people know what the heck they're saying yes and no to, right? Does that make sense?
Yep. So I love that.
All about yeah, it's all about letting you know. Like, because again, if you need it, who are you going to go to? You're probably going to go to either some stranger or some guy who's been helping you out and helping you win for 4 months without paying him, right? So it was just a trust factor to me. And I think that's the biggest thing is I didn't have to not talk about one thing or had to hide another thing or be awkward about how these things come together. It's me. I do a business because I want to help you make more money and be wise with the money you make. Whether you choose both or not, it's up to you. You can choose none for now. But if the time comes or somebody, they know where to go, right? And that's the whole thing that you helped me tie together. My team and I have been on top of this. Sia and Raquel have been instrumental. But again, even they were happy with some of the tweaks because I didn't know. They're like, hey, Mike, what do you want to do here? I'm like, I don't know. So they would do their best. But I was the guy who needed to have that clarity. And that's what I mean by that is I can't tell them what to do because I don't know what to do. So it was just, again, helping me clarify in my mind why I do it, the synergy behind it. Because at the end of the day, I can help people make more, do better with it, and both. But now it's passive. It's their choice. They figure it out and they can do or not. And that has really, and in just the last month or so, I've really seen that take off. I've really seen a couple, people, who I never dreamed would be on either side of the business, never work with me at all, to be honest. And now they are, right? So it's a great thing for people to see who you are. They see your website, they see your brand, and they go, I want to see more. I think, yeah. And even if it was just a one or two little things, isn't that worth doing a ton more business and being happier doing it and working with people that you really love to work with? If the answer to that is all three yeses, they need to be calling you right now. Absolutely, hands down.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. What did you think was the hardest part of the program?
I do know. I was going to say, because I didn't think there was. There was one. I hated it. Wasn't your fault. You ready?
Yeah.
I know it.
I know what it is.
I'm nervous. You know what it is. The photo shoot.
Yeah.
Photo shoot.
Oh.
Hey, you're not alone there either, including me.
A lot of people hate that part, but I'll let you finish that sentence after the word but. Finish that, Mike.
So after I did the photo shoot, because Austin Powers was the only thing I can think of, right? The movie, So I'm over here like, "Gar, baby," right? And I finally get into it. Well, I finally get into the daggone photo shoot and it's over, right? But they're pros, right? So I had good pictures. But after I saw the picture and what was done and your team edited it and put it in context, that's what blew me away. I was like, wow, this was fun. And it was fun being in it with other people, right? Because I think a lot of us get busy and I know you all have lots of options, but at first I was like, I don't want to be around these other people. I wish I, could have went to the other class where you just did it for me. At the same time, I'm glad those other people are awesome and they have been beneficial to me and I've been able to help them. So the relationships forged, around what you guys do in your business, that was worth it too, right? So there's so many benefits. Just taking the photo shoot because I'm a guy and usually rednecks don't sit around and pretty pose just to see what'll happen. Yeah. And I don't know if I shared those. There's a couple though. I think they got leaked. I might do a contest to share those. Where I'm sitting there looking like boy band or something, but
yeah, your photographer's like, give me sexy.
Yeah.
Give me
intriguing. Yeah.
Give me compelling.
There was no bad part. It was, I would say, more pleasant surprises that every time turn around, it's like, you know what? I really like that concept. And at the point where I didn't even understand why y'all wanted to do something, I just did it because I knew it was going to work out, right? Because it worked out the last 4 times I didn't want to do something or wasn't sure, and you told me to do it anyway. But you guys put a lot of work into this. You don't have to know anything. You just have to show up, be coachable, and do the bare minimum and take it seriously. This is a really, y'all bring a lot to the table. I just can't imagine someone not getting value. And I think what's neat is that you wouldn't work with somebody that you 1,000% couldn't help. And I think that's why you guys have such a great reputation. And that's why I'm fearlessly saying it out loud, because I don't want to lose my reputation if it wasn't true. So that should tell you everything you need to know, right?
We appreciate that,
No, you're
Mike.
very kind. You're very kind. The brand is a suit that you have to wear. And so we constantly preach that to people in the program. And even before they join us, we're going to put a lot of work into building something right here. You got to be comfortable in it. You got to wear it, but it's going to work. But you got to go through these steps. You got to be measured. You got to, you got to weigh it on the seamstress. Like there's going to be some things here, but when we're done, we're going to step back in that trifold mirror and you're going to be like, wow. And so is your prospects. And that's where really the magic begins to happen. And you wear that well. You put that suit on every day and you're seeing some changes in your business from doing that. And that attraction factor is going to take off. And then it's exponential after.
Yeah. And what I love about you guys so much, Mike, and you and your team is that, clarity breeds creativity. And you've got some creative people, you included. You guys are so creative and can do some amazing things. It's so nice to be able to hand somebody like, here's the core of the brand and here's all the individual elements and the language and everything. Now go have fun with it. And that's where the beauty comes out. And it's like, because people are so excited to do something with it when it's all put together, it's like they can't wait to get it out there. So what's been your experience with that and with your team so far and having everything that now at your fingertips?
Yeah, it's made me and my team, and again, I can't sing their praises enough, Sia and Raquel, where they were like, hey, I'm glad someone helped this guy figure out what fonts he should use and things like, figure out like how to do it. Cause God bless them. They're like, hey, I remember back in December when I just kind of jumped them out and Sia's like, you need a website, you need this, you need that. She's a business pro. And I'm like, okay, so I'm just starting to slap crap together, right? That's what I don't know what I'm doing. And she came to my rescue, made good stuff, but I had to know me. She can't know me for me, right? I had to take ownership of that. And I think it comes back to that point where now when I show up, I don't have to memorize scripts or wonder what I'm going to say. I pretty much got that. It's in my I don't know if I'm giving away proprietary info, right? But it's in my bites and these different things that I'm working with. I know and it can recall them. I have printed materials now. I can make printed materials easy. So the team is happy, right? So, hey, I need this. It's already here, right? They don't have to say, okay, we got to write a book for this guy because he can't write. Those kind of things have made it so much easier. When somebody needs something, we can produce it quickly. It's already on track. It's just made it so much more streamlined and clear so I can have more fun because it's hard to have fun when you're worried about if your message is coming across and what your message is and if you're consistent. Now we can have fun. We can hug babies and sign Applebee's napkins and do the things the marketing things that we want to be out there doing instead of trying to figure it all out and throwing the baby out with the bathwater every week, month, or whatever. So I think it's interesting because I've seen some people who are already at the top of their game, but they need a rebrand, so I'm just kind of waiting for that moment because I'm like, hey, just a few touch-ups will make that thing explode, right? So it's just, you have more fun because you're not worried about, oh gosh, is this going to work? I know it's going to work. I just have to work. That's the fun part.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah. You're what we would call 3 feet from gold, right? You were 3 feet from gold already because you had this nice little gold vein, right? You were just digging right beside it, not across it, right? And there's a book by that name, 3 Feet from Gold, which is amazing. It's about Napoleon Hill's story. It's about somebody who actually followed Napoleon Hill. But it's a great book. But that's truthfully what it is. You guys are so creative. You can do this. And now you have that core ready. But okay, we won't belabor that anymore. Mike, it has been such a pleasure talking to you about this. And now, people know who your ideal customer is. I can say this on your behalf at the end of it, this guy is brilliant and his team is brilliant. And, one of the taglines they actually came with was grow your network and your net worth. And Mike can help you do both of those things. And I can tell you, we've sent you several prospects your way, and we'll continue to send you a lot more because now everybody's clear about exactly the value that you can bring to people. So congratulations on all of that. And thank you for having confidence in us to go through this journey with you.
Oh, my pleasure, guys. I appreciate it. And yeah, anytime I can do anything to help you all and spread the word, yeah, you count me in. Hey, because reciprocity, that's the core principle of the hounds, and you guys fit in with it. So when you do good things for people, they can't help but to share and do good things for you. So I'll share you with anybody who's willing to listen and who could use your help. So you got my word. I appreciate you all.
Well, we appreciate you.
Yes.
And I want to say, I got to give a shout out to the Hounds group too, because you and your crew, Iraqi and Sia included, have amassed a following of really wonderful people. And if you have spent 2 seconds on the internet, being surrounded by really wonderful people sometimes is very hard to do. And I got to say, we love being a part of the Hounds group. We love all three of you. We love you guys. You're fantastic. You really do live what you preach every day. And it's fun to be around. It just is. So I want to give you a hats off, man, because you did a great job. And that was long before you came into our world or we came into yours. However, God worked that out. It was so fantastic, man. So the Hound, y'all remember that. And now I would lead that up. So you just tell everybody, what is the best way for people to learn more about both sides of what you can do for them?
Yeah, appreciate that. Go to redneckfinancialcoach.com. That's the best way. We're adding to it. We're adding a lot of things, so it's a little bare bones right now. But hey, you can contact me from there. You can find me on LinkedIn if you're not already. And just reach out. And we're doing a bi-weekly at this point, so every other week. The next one is August 10th. It'll be the town hall. So if you're interested in learning about the Hounds, looking to join a community that can help you increase your net worth, that does mean business, then sign up for that. It's on my profile. You can just go there, the events page. Hey, we look forward to seeing you there. And by the way, I got to give a shout out to all the Hounds. There's way too many. It'd take us 8 hours to drop all names. But yeah, all them people are amazing because I took it to where I was because I wanted to make friends, right? And had this idea, this redneck Camelot, right? And here lately, I feel like I'm empty. Like the brain is, everything I had got us to this point. And so I got to give everybody credit, especially the team that, Sia and Raquel, but everybody in there just, takes it way beyond what I could even possibly imagine on my own. And quite frankly, in my own personal business life, I couldn't be where I'm at daily if it wasn't for these folks using their time and attention and skill sets to help boost not just me, but everybody. So that's the kind of community that we have built. This is the kind of community that's here. If you're seeing us, you two are there. I mean,
oh yeah, we love being a part of it.
Yeah, and that's what we're looking. So, hey, if you're a stray hound out there, or you found your pack, all right, show up August 10th or just, redneckfinancialcoach.com, find us, all right? Stop being a stray, find your way home. That's all I got.
You're awesome. Thank you so much, Mike.
Hey, thank you guys. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Brought to you by BrandFace, the only comprehensive personal brand building system across the globe.